Hi, everybody. Welcome to Grubby Talk. I'm Bryan Spray, your host. It is 6 o'clock on a Sunday night, and it is time for Grubby Talk to be back on the air. Yes, I took another little unplanned break thanks to, this little thing we call COVID-19. It hit my house. Hit me first, actually, and then it hit the rest of the family, and I go back to work tomorrow, though. Things are better. I think I sound better. I've never sounded great, but I sound better. And there's still a little scratchiness, a little bit of a cough there. So if I don't have a cough button, if I cough live on air tonight, I hope you will forgive me. But we're back and glad to have Grubby Talk back. Look at the new look, y'all. Look at this. Isn't this incredible? Sam Jones, you are the man. I'm going to get Sam on here sooner or later, and we're going to talk about the stuff that he does for this kayak fishing community. But Sam, of course, with Hoosier Kayak Bassin and South Mountain Media, Sam Jones hooked me up. We got our sponsors up there. Look at that, our major sponsors for GRBY. New layout, new theme, banners, all kinds of fun stuff. We're going to have even more bells and whistles we're going to add eventually. So again, Sam, hey man, thank you so much for doing that. Appreciate the time and effort and the volunteerism that you provided for us to do that. It's amazing. So I can't wait to get Sam on here and talk everything Hoosier Kayak Bassin. All right, y'all. It is. I am excited. I'm going to get to see what people are starting to join us here. Hello. Hey, Nate. Hello, Corey and Logan. I bet Logan's there as well. Cole. Thanks, man. I'm glad I'm back too. Thank you, Ron. All our regulars watching tonight. Glad to have you. Now, I'm excited about our guest here this evening. I'd hoped to have a couple of guests tonight. But unfortunately, we're probably not going to have everybody on that I wanted to have. Because of how busy life is for people. But we're going to have Sam Robertson, who's really, really busy at the shop at Sun Valley Sports. He'll be joining us eventually. Cannot join us tonight, however. And look at all these people joining tonight. Hey, y'all. Glad you joined me. Speaking of joining me, I have a celebrity in the house tonight, and he's a celebrity because he is the 2020 GRBY champion, Bryan Sparks, in the house. Hey, Bryan, how's it going, man?
Pretty good, man. How you doing?
I'm good. So excited to have you on tonight. We tried to do this a couple weeks ago, and you had some football thing going on. What was that all about?
Yeah, I got a little guy that he aspires to be a good football player, so I have to watch him every now and then.
It was actually a whole weekend thing, I believe, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it's been a few months. It's been a while. He goes from baseball to football to basketball and back again.
So I'm guessing he's probably like his old man. Did you play a lot of sports?
I did. He's not entirely like me though. I can't get a fishing pole in his hand. If it's a ball, he'll take it, but a fishing pole is not there.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, Bryan. So, speaking of football, look who that was. Mr. Moore, the coach himself. All right. Let's talk kayak fishing. Give us your background real quick, Bryan. I met you getting ready for that championship at Shackamack. I think that was back in August, September. Is that when that was?
Yeah, I think it was. I fish a lot out of a boat. I used to do a lot of boat tournaments, and I know Brockhow. Some people know that crazy kid.
The luckiest man on the planet.
Yeah, right. Yeah, don't get in a drawing with him because you're going to lose. He's the only person I can know that could win more than, if a guy had 4 names in the drawing and he's got a half, he's still going to win.
And for a guy that got ran over by a boat in his kayak, you wouldn't think he is the luckiest man in the.
He just uses that as an excuse to get free stuff. But no, I don't. I mean, as far as out of a kayak, this was it. I got with him, and he's like, start, fish out of this kayak series. And I actually met Jim on one of our lakes here at Thousand Islands. I was back there fishing, and this guy's coming up in this kayak, and And, it's a decked out kayak, of course, like Jim Strunk rolls. And
Yep.
he was fishing one of the month longs, and I was talking to him. I just caught an 18-incher. He's like, "Is there any big fish in here?" I'm like, "Yeah, there's some good ones in here. It's been a while because it gets fished out a lot now, but there's still some good stuff in there." But I met him then, and that kind of put a little spark in my fishing to try the kayak thing. So long story short, I did. This was my first year. I don't have a whole lot of kayak experience. You may know the first test tournament that we had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
was quite an adventure for me.
I want to hear more about that story because yes, it was. Tell us about that adventure.
Yeah. Well, I borrowed a catch board. That's going to have to ring because I can't go get it. But I borrowed Brock's board. And Aiden, shut that off, please. Sorry, I am. And I just decided to try it. And I'm catching a lot of fish, and I was doing pretty well. I was leading the tournament, and all of a sudden, they disappeared. And I was like, "Hey!" I texted Brock. I'm like, "What the heck happened, man? Where did my fish go? I'm now at 0." And he goes, "Where's your life jacket?" I was like, "It's in my truck." I never wear a life jacket. Of course, I'm a boat guy. I wear a life jacket unless the motor's running. So it was like, "Dude, it's in my truck." What do you mean? He goes, "You got to have a life jacket on." I'm like,
all those fish gone.
Gosh. You got to be kidding. But you couldn't see that I didn't have a life jacket. I mean, you could barely see my gut. And I was like, all right. So I'll just start over again. And Jim texts me, is like, "Sorry, man, don't work that way." Like, whatever, no big deal. You live and you learn.
So you were actually DQ'd from that.
I was kicked out with the big old Jim Strunk boots.
We had the discussion to ban you from Grubby, but I lost that one. So
yeah, right. Whatever. Hey, it's 2020, man. Anything goes.
That's right. Anything can go. And now you turn around and you win the freaking championship at Shakamak.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So boat guy turned kayak guy. And if I remember correctly, you don't fish out of the most stellar kayak in the world, especially early on this season, right?
No, not at all. The kayak I actually have 3 of them, and they're out in the backyard. All of them have holes in them. They are like those things have been through the ringer. But that's where I fish. I mean, I go where people don't go.
And it goes to prove that if you are a heck of a fisherman, it doesn't matter what you're fishing out of. You're going to find them. Yeah.
No, it doesn't matter. I used to fish, the BFL. Of course, I have a Ranger, but it is not a top of the line. It's a 98, and here I'm topping out. If I get the wind behind my back, I'm going 43 mile an hour. Now I fished against a bunch of those guys with $60,000-$70,000 boats, and I'll get there eventually. But I beat a lot of them. It's just it's not about that. And there's another thing. I don't use electronics. Yeah. I never have. I would love to have that in my arsenal. Just never had the money to gear up like that.
Well, you're really talking to my heart because I mean, I've got a Bonafide. It's not a high-end kayak. It's a great kayak. Does a great job. I started out in a Dunham's special, similar to probably what you had.
That's exactly where I got mine. Exactly. Now, $180.
I upgraded because I fell out of my Dunham special in the middle of Lake James in 40-degree temps and ended up in the hospital. But that's a whole nother story. So you're speaking to my heart here. Electronics. I've got a cheap little $50 fish finder. It shows little dots in black and gray on the screen. It lets me know how deep it is. That's all. So yeah, it doesn't. You don't have to have all the major bells and whistles to be competitive.
You don't have to fish and to be competitive. I've learned a shallowish. That's my strength is shallower water.
Yeah.
The deep stuff, I just don't know because you do need electronics. It is absolutely a must have if you have to go offshore. And and I don't have that in my arsenal right now, which I'm working on that. We're working on some situations to help that out. But
so now as I look back on Shakamak and the GRBY championship, that kind of speaks to why you had some success when others were struggling, because it was kind of that shallow bite was what was working for.
Yeah, it was a
people,
shallow bite. It was a slow bite. But that tournament, it was kind of fun. I mean, as horrible as it was, a lot of fish were caught. I mean, a ton of fish were caught, and it was anyone from the top 20 get that one bite, and you're right there. I mean, that was probably one of the funnest tournaments I'd had, because you're an inch ahead, an inch behind, an inch ahead, but everyone's catching 12 and 13-inch fish. And it's like, oh crap, man! One guy gets a bite and it's over.
Yeah, trust me. 45 minutes left in the tournament. I'm in 5th place. That one bite killed me.
Yeah.
I ended up one spot out of the money.
I saw a lot of negativity about the Shakamak State Park, but that lake has got a lot of great fish in it.
Oh, it was fun.
It's full of 4 and 5 pounders. It just we caught it at the wrong time.
Yeah, it was fun.
We just came back. I came back from Guntersville, and you hear Guntersville. I mean, I struggled to catch 15.5-inch fish, but I did. I caught a limit every time, and it was just, and I could see these 20-inch giants below me. And it was just like, it's just a time, man. It's all in time.
So I'm curious, did you have a plan coming into this? First of all, let me back up. How'd you qualify? Where'd you fish?
How'd I qualify for
the championship? What series did you fish in?
Which one?
Yeah, which one?
Well, I qualified for the Grubby championship. I fished a bunch of different series. Most of them were at Sullivan. I fished all of Monroe. Okay. I fished a few. Well, the Sullivan kind of went back and forth from Duggar unit to Sullivan.
So you may have qualified out of several of those series.
Yeah. I think.
Now, did you win any of the regular season tournaments?
Yeah, I won. I won the first one at Duggar unit.
Yep.
I think that was it. I was in the top. I think that was the only one I won. It's a couple thirds and seconds.
Okay. Okay. And then what was funny to me was I saw you in practice for Shakamak, and you said, "Well, I live 5 minutes from here."
Yeah.
But I'm never here.
Well, I used to fish a lot of the there's always used to be a lot of nighttime tournaments there and a lot of weekend tournaments. Sometimes I'd just take a friend that like to experience the tournament atmosphere, but it's just one of them weekend things you can just go and take somebody. I take my son a lot of those, and it's just a fun little tournament. But I haven't fished those in a while.
I was thinking through before the championship. I was thinking through who do I think are the guys that are probably the strongest ones that have a chance to win this and be my competition. And you were right. I just remember thinking, I got a funny feeling Bryan Sparks is going to win this thing. And this was before we even started. And when you came out day one and was the leader by several inches, I'm like, I don't know why I felt that way, other than I talked to you and I just felt like there was something you were holding back, I think, that you knew that nobody else knew. Did you have a strategy?
That's just, that to me, when I heard that it was going to be there, I was like, you know what? If I don't win this, I need to just hang my shoes and stop, because I've got more time on that water than anybody else, except for Jim Strunk lives over there every weekend.
Yeah.
But I just thought that was my chance. It's going to be a great opportunity to me to show people that I know how to fish a little bit, and then I can, maybe pull one off. So,
yeah, that's awesome. So day one of the championship, you were leading by a couple of inches, I think. Is that right?
I think it was 2.5 or something like that. Maybe 4.5.
Yeah, it was quite a good lead for the size fish we were talking Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was 4.5.
So what was your average fish? Did you have a couple of really big ones or
13 3/4 was my biggest fish of the weekend.
wow.
I
I
didn't
beat
get
that. I had 14.
I did the first day one. My biggest fish came. I was going back to the ramp. My biggest fish came at like 3 minutes to go. Lines out. I say biggest fish. It was about probably a 15-inch fish. But I mean, hey man, at that time that was a monster.
Yeah.
And I lost it. So
No, of course.
yeah.
On day one, I lost, that little, where you and I were fishing, that little flat area right by the fishing pier. That's just out from there. I camped out there a couple of times, and day one, late in the day, I had by far my biggest of the weekend and lost him at the boat. He came up and spit
if you
out a
go
jig.
there early March, into February even, and take a red rattle trap, it is an absolute blast.
I bet.
15 and a half, 16 inches all the time.
When it came down to it, your day one lead was strong enough that I don't even quite remember. Tourney X breaks it down by each day. And I know this because I paid attention to, I was in 10th after day one, and then day two, I was actually in third place, but overall I ended up in 6th, but third place for the day. Where were you at for day two? Do you know?
As well, it took me a minute before I had the day one, and the same with I think several people had a limit really quick. Yeah. I struggled for I think it was probably an hour and a half before I even had a limit yet.
Really?
And that was the first time I think I had an 8-inch fish on the board. And I was like, what in the deal is going on? My bite it changed. Actually, I caught a limit in probably on day one. I probably had a limit in 15 minutes on a buzzbait.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Really quick. I mean, it was just like after another.
Yeah.
And that bite wasn't there. It wasn't there on the next day.
Yeah, it was a different bite.
I might have abandoned it pretty quickly though. I just wasn't feeling that. The top water bite was not what I was going to trigger. Right.
I never could get the top water to really do much. For me, it was mostly Ned rigging and jigging. And it was the opposite for me. Day one, I didn't get a limit for an hour and a half, couple hours. And then day two, got my limit within the first half hour. And I remember you kind of floating up, looking a little frustrated. And I'm like, ooh, yeah, maybe I got a chance.
I was. It was like, but I knew. I mean, I just knew that I was going to have 2 or 3 16-inch fish, and it wasn't happening.
Yeah.
I mean, I make spinner baits. I threw my spinner bait for the entire day.
That's what you were throwing, something homemade. I was trying to figure out what you had on. And I'm like, that's some sort of spinner bait, but I couldn't quite figure it out. You make those things.
I make those, yeah.
Oh,
and my brother makes them too. My dad, he's the one that taught us how to make those. Okay. Actually, they come back. There was a guy, a local guy here that was a pretty popular fisherman. He even tried, I think, some of the old time, like the old Bassmaster type stuff. And his name was Minner Fish. A lot of people might know him around here.
Okay.
But it was called the Minner's Dinner Spinnerbait. A lot of people know that. Well, he passed away and it kind of just disappeared. Well, my dad and him, I mean, they used to make him up in his attic, and Dad brought some stuff home, and so I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to start making my own stuff. And it's kind of neat, when you have a passion for fishing and you make your own baits and you go out and you're successful with your own bait, it kind of just takes it to another level.
Yeah, I agree. Lots of people tuning in, and we got about 25 viewers live right now. So our numbers are spiking because of Mr. Bryan Sparks joining us tonight on Grubby Talk, the champion of GRBY. All right, what's next? Are you gonna join us again next year? What series do you think you might fish? What's gonna happen for you?
Actually, there's a lot of things up in the air. Right now, I'm gonna do I'm definitely going to do all the grubbies that I can get into.
Yeah.
I'll probably try and focus. I'll probably do some of the month-long things for KBF.
Yep.
It's fun. But I'm going to do the KFL with Sam this coming year, the inaugural year for that. So I'm gonna push that a little bit. Hopefully we can get some success with that, push that out and amplify that a little bit, but definitely staying with Grubby. You know, it's just a thing about all this stuff. The guys are just awesome. I mean, you get, that was one of the reasons I got out of the boat fishing was, you know, I mean, I hate to say it, but a lot of the guys are just jerks. I mean, there was no, I mean, if you weren't in a little clique, you were an outsider and you weren't going to get any conversations. And, you know, this type of fishing community is awesome. They come together for everybody, no matter what. And everyone's really just wanting everyone to do well. I mean, it's fishing. I mean, we're just here to, it's not me against you. It's not me against everybody else. It's me against that particular lake and time. I'm trying to catch that green fish or brown fish.
Me, it's usually me against myself, but yes, I
you know, and a lot of people worry when they're fishing. They're like, man, I can't stop looking at that leaderboard. To me, there's no reason to look at it if you don't have a fish on your board. Don't let it worry about you. I mean, fish and have fun. You're in God's creation, and have fun and enjoy it.
I want to, you're mentioning this community and what it's like to why it's so different than the boat community. Jason Young, he's saying good stuff, fellas. He's watching right now. Indiana Kayak Anglers, whole different series, whole different group of guys. And I'm going to announce the schedule that they've released today for next year. And they do the same thing, promoting Grubby, and Jason fishes with us. It's just then you got SIAC down south. I mean, it's just a really neat community. Sam Jones is at the middle of all that, bringing the whole community together. And it's not about competition for these different agencies. It's about coming together, having fun, and being there for each other. And that's what I love about this thing.
It's more about the stories after. You know, everybody's got their story. It's just, you know, it's just fun to be a part of it, you know, and to listen to all the fish that everybody lost. It's just part of the game, man. It's fun.
All right, we already heard one or two stories from you, but I know you've only been out of a kayak for about a year or so, but I'm wondering, do you have that one just like crazy kayak fishing story that you just got to tell and let us in on something?
Yeah, I got to tell you, I'm getting kind of nervous. I don't know if you know about the KFL thing, but it's all going to be live, and I am absolutely dumb with a GoPro.
Yeah,
I mean, I might as well be trying to go. I'm a right-handed man. I might as well try to go play basketball left-handed the whole game. It's just I got to work on that.
Yeah.
But to me, I'm just sitting here thinking of all the times that and when I go fishing, and I'm by myself. Last year that was a lot of my getaway. Of course, everybody had a rough year, but that one was particularly rough. But when I'm sitting here thinking, man, do I really want somebody watching what I'm doing? I can't tell you how I got into and I don't know what it was, but I did luck in to a lot of really big bass last year on the month-longs. And for some crazy reason, it just goes to, I mean, you really got to be careful sometimes because we do have poisonous snakes around here.
Oh, yeah. I
caught several. And as I'm reaching over the kayak, I mean, and of course you're in a kayak, you're right next to the water. So and I didn't fish. I didn't even fish with a net for the longest time. I was like, why you guys all got these nets? Because I never use a net. I just always lip and fish.
Yeah.
So I'm grabbing this bass and these snakes. I mean, literally this little baby snake comes up out of this fish's mouth. And I mean, if that would have been on camera right there, I would have had 1 million views because I took that paddle and I'm beating the water. I'm beating my kayak. That's probably why I got a hole in my kayak. I'm yelling, screaming like a little girl. And I don't even remember if I kept the bass because I probably threw it. I'm surprised I didn't throw my pole and everything else. That happened like 2 or 3 times. So I got anxiety when I was catching fish and trying to lip them. That's when I was like, dude, I'm getting a net. I'm not even going to get my hand near these fish's mouth.
Yeah.
It's just funny. I mean, and that's
I
gonna
love
create,
that story. If
that's
you've never met Bryan,
fun.
you're a big guy to just imagine that little snake being the thing that intimidates you.
One of them wasn't so much a little snake. I mean, it was it was kind of curled over in this fish's mouth, and I picked this thing up, and I'm like, whoa, hey, what is in your mouth, dude? And I could tell it was this big old snake, and I was just, I don't like snakes.
I can tell. I don't.
My favorite snake is a dead snake.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. That would freak me out too.
I can do spiders, you know, let them crawl all over, but a snake, I'm shooting that thing with everything I have.
So promise me that you're going to be doing KBL, you said, right? Which means you'll be live?
The KFL.
KFL, sorry. KFL.
Yes. Yeah.
You'll be live, right?
Yeah. Yes, we will be. We will be
Promise
live
me,
during our matches.
Promise me you won't hold back when the snake shows up during the live
there's
fishing.
No chance. I mean, we might have another Jesus time when I'm walking on water. I'll leave the kayak.
Oh, I'm loving it. Okay. All right. So when does that start? KFL.
Still kind of up in the air. I'm not 100% sure. It's going to be summertime. It was one of the things that I really pondered about doing it because I coached my son in all of his sports, and that's probably going to be put on the back burner as far as coaching him. And he was all right with it, though. He's a trooper.
Mr. Strunk, Papa Strunk says he had a snake come into his boat in one of those remote pits over there. So I don't remember if he told me that story or not. I'm gonna have Jim on next week, so I'll have to have him tell us that story.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I really hope I don't have too many more snake stories. I just don't.
And I'm not laughing at you, man. Okay, I am, but that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. I think my biggest fear isn't snakes. It's these water creatures that sneak up beside your kayak, like a muskrat or a beaver, and then you freak them out, so they like slam the water really fast and get you all wet and scare the blank out of you.
Right.
I had that happen right before you came up. It was dark. Day 2 at Shakamak, and you know that Beaver Dam area that was right there. I wasn't too far from that, and it was pitch dark. It was almost lines in. All of a sudden, beaver or whatever it was made that big old splash right beside me. I got wet from it, and it took me 10 minutes to get my heartbeat back to normal. And I was like, I got to fish, but I'm so freaked out right now. So that's one of my big fears.
You know, I was in a boat though, but I was up against. It was a early morning, and I was back up against a bank. It was a high bank, but there was a hole next to an old stump, and I just heard this growling sound, and I was like, "What in the world is that?" And there was a beaver like 6 inches from my shoulder right here, just like ready to come out and get me. That's crazy. I definitely moved real quick.
I'm pretty sure I'd be dead. I think my heart would just stop beating right in that moment. So.
the things you run into just to go fishing.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so you're going to be doing Grubby next year. Hey, have you thought about doing any? You got the KFL. Any of the national tournaments next year seem appealing to you?
Yeah, I'm qualified for the next year's championship, so I'll be going to that. I'm actually thinking I'm probably going to. I'm going to go to the Kissimmee tournament in January.
Oh, okay.
Kiss me, whatever, however you say it.
Kiss me.
Whatever. I guess it depends on if you're single or married or not. Kissimmee or Kissimmee, whatever. Yeah. Florida, man. That's where
Florida, and it should be beautiful.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too.
I ran it across my wife, and she was like, "Let's go." You know, let's go. She's pretty excited about the whole fishing thing. She's buying me all the way, so it's fun.
Hey, speaking of family, you won the Grubby Championship, and your prizes. Run down your prizes for me. What was your payout, and what was the main prize that you got?
The main prize was that compass, the Hobie compass.
Yep.
There was some gift certificates. I believe there was a couple of those, and then I believe there's like $500 cash. It's five something maybe.
Okay, great. And of course, the Hobie compass was from Sun Valley Sports, right at their top first screen. And I believe that they said that you can either get the Hobie compass or you can use that towards something else. You're kind of thinking through what to do with that, right?
Yeah, I'm still kicking around. I don't know. I've got some other boat options that may pop up. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to fish out of next year. I love that little boat that I bought.
Yeah,
it's definitely not kayak per se, because when the motor's down, it's like paddling a brick.
Oh,
I mean,
my.
you cannot paddle that thing very far. And of course, I just bought a trolling or a battery. It was one of the Monroe tournaments, and I was like 2 miles away from where I wanted to go, actually to the ramp where I was launching from. And I see this puff of smoke coming out of my positive terminal. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So that was my paddle adventure, where I'm going to start taking backup batteries, because you just can't paddle that thing.
Yeah. Oh, man. All right. So those were your prizes. Your family was there.
They were.
Yeah, that's kind of cool to have your family there when you win a big tournament, right?
Oh, definitely. But like I said, we only live like 8-9 minutes away. So I called them and said, hey, I'm leading, but I'm not doing very well today. And they were already on their way anyway. They were like, yeah, no, you're all right. You're going to do all right. So,
man, I'm really proud of you. You did a great job at that tournament. And I think keep going. You got some great things ahead of you, I think, in this world of kayak fishing. I think what's that?
Oh, there we go.
Say that again.
They were back.
Oh, did you go away?
Yeah, I went away. I think I had a call.
Okay. Well, good, because I was trying to say nice things about you, and I didn't really want to say them.
Yeah, so. I
did. Well, anyway, you did it. You've done a great job this year. Congratulations on being the champion. Even though I tried hanging around you the entire 2 days, and it just wasn't enough to get me into the money. But you did a great job, and I think you're going to be doing some great things here in the next year.
I appreciate it. I'm going to give it a shot and just wish everybody luck, man. It's just fun. Great community to be around, and it's just a lot of fun to be a part of.
All right, Mr. Sparks, thanks a lot for your time tonight. I'm going to let you go, and I've got a few more things I need to do on the show, and we'll talk to you again in the future. I'm sure you're going to win more tournaments down the road, so I'm sure you'll be no stranger to Grubby Talk.
Appreciate it, man.
All right, have a good night.
Thanks, you too.
All right, so that's Bryan Sparks, our 2020 GRBY Grassroots Bass Yakin champion from Shakamak. All right, so a couple more things. Indiana Kayak Anglers today. We want to mention them real quick just because if you're like me, you've already got the calendar out for next year, right? I've already got it out. I've already got things filled in like crazy as much as I can. So IKA came out with their schedule. I thought I would release that really quick. So let me pull that up real fast. They released it today. Thank you to Jason Young for sharing this graphic that I'm going to show you all. And thanks again to Sam Jones for teaching me how to do all this stuff, by the way. So IKA, Indiana Kayak Anglers, as you decide what tournaments to do next year. Of course, we want you to do as many of the grubby tournaments as you can. If you're like me, you build those around some of the other tournaments in the state, KBF, IKA, SIAC. So here is Indiana Kayak Anglers schedule for next year. March 20th is going to be on Lake Monroe. May 1st, Lake Wawasee. May 22nd, Summit Lake. Look out, y'all. June 26th is in my backyard at Missinawah Lake. This year I did horrible there. July 17th, Kankakee River. That's an interesting ad, Jason. I love it. August 7th, my favorite IKA tournament every year, the White River. And then a week later, on August 14th, is their championship. So there you go. That's the IKA schedule for next year. Now, why is that important? That is important because in 1 week, y'all, in 1 week, see what's scrolling at the bottom? Mr. Strunk and Cole Ritter are going to join me on this show, and we are going to announce live at 6 p.m. next Sunday the 2021 season schedule for Grassroots Bass Yakking. So that's going to be live on this show. I'm so excited about that. We're going to talk about as much as we can, as much as we know about any changes, any additions. The schedule is going to be 100% figured out, I believe, by then. At least I hope it is. And we are going to reveal it to you live right here in all its glory next week, Sunday at 6 p.m. Okay. So let's see. A couple more comments. I want to get them on before I say goodbye to everybody. Thanks, Eddie. Appreciate you watching the show. Thanks, man. Jason being a big part. Jason, by the way, got out to go fishing after his big surgery a month and a half ago. He got to go fishing yesterday. Congratulations to Jason for doing that. I agree, Cole. Brian's a great representative for being our champ. Mr. Robbins, how you doing, sir? And Nate Goodwin, glad you're joining us, and thanks a lot for being a part of watching our show tonight. All right, y'all. That is just about everything. Let me look at my list real quick. Oh, hey, coming up, future shows. So I did the schedule for IKA on the 29th, which is next Sunday. Cole Ritter, Jim Strunk joined me. On December 6th, I'm going to ask Mr. Jones, Sam Jones from Hoosier Kayak Bassin and South Mountain Media to join me. Hopefully he'll be able to do that on the 6th. And then I'm thinking on the 13th, I don't have it all figured out yet, but I think we're going to do something special on the 13th. I think we're going to do some sort of Christmas show. That's all I'm going to say right now. I've got some ideas brewing around up in this empty noggin up here, but I think we're going to maybe do some sort of a Christmas show on the 13th. Then I'll probably take a couple of weeks off for the holidays, and then we'll be back at it with the new year. And so that's what we're going to do in the next few weeks. Okay. All right. I think that is everything. That has been Grubby Talk again. Sam Jones, thank you so much for look how pretty this is, guys. Sponsors at the top. I want to mention those are major sponsors for GRBY, Sun Valley, Never Lost Catch, OTWI, which is On the Water Innovations, Kistler, and Dakota Lithium. So those are up there now, and we just got a nice, clean, sharp look thanks to Sam Jones, and I can't wait to have him on. All right, few more comments. Good night, y'all. Thank you. I am glad I'm feeling better. You have no idea. This sounds so much better than it did a week ago. Thanks a lot, Coach. Appreciate it. And Mr. Cartwright, good to see you. All right, y'all. That's Grubby Talk. I will see you in 1 week from tonight. Big show. We get to announce the schedule for next year. See y'all. Bye-bye.